You're back with us on America's Forum. Andy Tillis, J.D. Hayworth, John Bogman, and via Skype from Boston, Massachusetts, our old pal Howie Carr graciously hanging in with us. Howie, obviously now the big race was today, so the Boston Marathon is in the books, and I think there was a record set. We'll get to that in a second, but I wanted to switch topics to another kind of race, a political race just north of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the New Hampshire GOP primary, where a lot has been made of Scott Brown, but correct me if I'm wrong, there's another familiar name in New Hampshire politics who's trying to stage a comeback, correct?
That is correct, J.D. Senator Bob Smith. He was the senator for 2 terms until 2003, I guess. And he's now 73 years old, and he moved after he lost the primary to John Sununu back in 2002. He moved away to Florida, became a real estate salesman for a while. He was for a while in the Senate. He left the Republican Party. He thought he was being undercut by having Sununu, the then congressman who became the senator, the son of Governor Sununu, pushed at him. So he was angry at the Republicans. He became an independent. Then he went down to Florida and joined something called the National Taxpayers Party. Then he moved back to New Hampshire, and now he's running for the Senate again. So, you know, they call Scott Brown a carpetbagger, and I guess, you know, you could say he's a carpetbagger. And Jeanne Shaheen wasn't born in New Hampshire either, but, you know, at least Shaheen and Brown have only been in one party their entire lives. Bob Smith, who I like personally, has been in 3 parties, but he's still taking shots at Scott Brown. You know, he says, I'll debate him in 10 pounds whose names he can't even pronounce.
Well, this brings up the whole topic, the synergy between Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So many folks who grew up in Massachusetts moving north to New Hampshire to get away from onerous taxes, right, or at least that used to be the dynamic. It still intrigues me. I don't know, I guess people would love to caricature Bob Smith, but there's more than a grain of truth to say, hey, look, you know, say what you will about my flight down to Florida and my leaving the Republican Party. I did represent New Hampshire for 2 terms in the United States Senate.
And several more in the House.
Right. So this becomes my question. The dynamic of the Massachusetts folks moving into New Hampshire, does that really help Scott Brown in terms of this primary?
I think it does, J.D. I think that most of the people who are moving into New Hampshire are still conservative. I know the state has become more liberal as time has gone on, and it's certainly not like the days of Meldrum Thompson and William Loeb as the editor of the Manchester Union Leader. Things are different now, but I think that most of the people that are moving in, especially into that southern tier, you know, around Salem, New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire, right close to the border, right close to the Merrimack River, those are people who are very conservative Massachusetts residents who wanted to escape. Now you get further up into the North Woods, and you've got some of the crunchy granola types that have moved up there. Some of the same type of people that have moved into Vermont from New York State. I mean, these are the people who don't want the hydroelectric power lines coming down from Quebec through New Hampshire. You go to those meetings up there in northern New Hampshire, you think you're at some kind of Woodstock 50th anniversary reunion here, you know?
Do you get to many of those meetings, Howie, up there? That I would love to see. That I would love to see.
Oh, you bet.
I hear about them, John, you know? Okay. But I still think that's a minority of the people that have moved into the state. I think most of the people that have moved in don't want so much to see New Hampshire become another Massachusetts. You know, the thing is they like the services of Massachusetts sometimes, but you know, if you have no sales tax and you have no income tax, Obviously you don't have as much money coming in, and the cities and towns have to rely more on the property tax, and that's where there's a lot of tension in New Hampshire politics as well, is over the tax. The Democrats are always trying to push through something in the legislature to establish an income tax, but it's never gone anywhere, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Now, Howie, since the Red Sox are doing better, I'm going to use a baseball metaphor here. This question does not come out of left field. It does not come out of right field, but given my political sensibilities, I guess the guy I'm talking about here, this comes out of center field. Mitt Romney. There is still some talk, a lot of whispers, and over the past 10 days, there's been renewed speculation that, well, gee, Romney is going to make another run for it.
Right.
What are you hearing up there? Any more of the Romney brain trust around the Boston area saying, we really need this guy to try again?
Well, I think you hear some of it, but I'm not so sure that you hear it coming actually from Mitt Romney himself. I really think if you check out that Netflix documentary that was released a couple of months ago, which is a really interesting look into the dynamics, not just of the campaign, but the entire Romney family, you get the feeling that they are not interested in having another race, and I just don't see it, really. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I know Ann Coulter is pushing it all over the place. She was pushing it on my show, pushing it on Sean Hannity's show, and there are other people who want it. And I think that this Jeb Bush boomlet is going over kind of like a lead balloon, especially when he dropped the L word, love of illegal aliens. And I don't think that's going to work out either. And Christie is still damaged goods, but I just don't see Mitt making another run for it.
Well, Howie, what about another member of the Romney clan? I know Josh Romney has been mentioned too as a possible next generation candidate. Is there any discussion on future Romneys running for office?
Well, yeah, I mean, Josh is the one who actually, I think, got that camera crew inside the campaign in 2012. But I think Josh would have to begin at a lower level. He's never run for anything himself.
Yeah, obviously not for president, but some sort of political office. There might be life for the Romneys after Mitt.
I think he would be better. And it's always tough for a Republican in Massachusetts. And when Mitt first ran against Ted Kennedy in 1994, there was a lot of anti-Mormon bigotry that came out directly from the Kennedys themselves. Joe Kennedy, the future congressman, he said some terrible things about the Mormon religion. I think if Josh really wants to run for office, he'd be better off to go back to Park City. I mean, that's a lovely community and that ski resort, and that's where the Romneys have settled in Utah. I think that would be a perfect place for Josh to run from.
Fair enough.
Well, this brings up another topic. You mentioned it in passing, and that's the K word, Kennedys. Now, we had a respite from Kennedy serving in elective office, but that can't last a long time.
Yeah.
What about the next generation of Kennedys? Are we going to see the Kennedy family back in a big way in Bay State politics?
I think so. Yeah, you mentioned the respite, and the when you look at it going back to the end of World War II and the Kennedys, for 2 years there were no Kennedys in Congress, but JD, it really looks like in retrospect like a mere health night. Now they're back. You have Joe Kennedy III. He's my congressman. He's Joe Kennedy II's son. And he's a pretty smart kid. He went to Harvard and Stanford, and he's kind of biding his time. He's not in any kind of rush to get into it. He's running for his second term in the House, and I think that's where he'll be for the time being. And of course Ted Kennedy Jr. is he's moved back from D.C. to Connecticut, and he's running for the state senate up there. And I think I'm thinking that there must be some kind of congressman who's wrapping it up, because I don't see that Ted Kennedy Jr. would have too much interest in going to Hartford every day to deal with local issues. I mean, maybe just one term in the Senate and then move on to the U.S. House of Representatives. And but other than that, I think Patches is all done. Patrick Kennedy, the former congressman from Rhode Island, he's become a big crusader now against legalizing marijuana. He had a big press conference in Providence on Friday about that, and he's out of politics. Don't think Caroline Kennedy will be doing much after she gets back from Japan. So I think it'll probably come down to Joe Kennedy for a while. He'll be the only.
Well, Howie, you have absolutely given us insight and an incisive analysis, a veritable roster from the family Kennedy, and we appreciate it, Howie Carr. Andy Tillis, it's great to have you here. Thanks very much for the update. And we are coming back with more for you on America's Forum. Don't go away.